everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel Rather Be Reading, and today I'm bringing to you my 2020 goals. It is that time of the year to tell you guys all of the 2020 reading goals that I've set for myself, or reading and some kind of channel goals as well. I'm not going to lie, a lot of these goals are very similar to ones that I've had in previous years. I've just found goals and things that work for me that I enjoy trying to complete throughout the year, so let's just jump straight into them. So my first reading goal is like the basic bitch reading goal, which is just, of course, the Goodreads reading challenge. This year I have set my challenge at 250, which is the highest I've ever set it. I read 293 books last year, so it sounds easy to do, but last year was only the second year I'd ever hit. Like in 2018 I hit 250, like I literally hit right on 250. That was the first time I'd ever hit that. And then last year, like I said, I did read 293. So 250 is still kind of ambitious, particularly because I'm not getting through audiobooks anywhere near as quickly now as what I was through the majority of last year, which will have an impact on my reading. So 250 could be a bit of a stretch maybe, but I guess we'll see. I like to push myself. I'm a very goal-orientated, not person, but reader. I am a very goal-orientated reader, I have found over the years. So my second reading goal is one that we've had for several years, which is to once again just read the next 10 books on my physical to-read list. So I've mentioned this a lot. I should have brought it in to show you, but I didn't. I have a spiral notebook, which I've had for a really long time, where I was writing down the books that I'd heard about that I wanted to read well before I'd ever had Goodreads and had a place to like digitally keep track of it. And that I do include every book, because I don't know why I do this, but I do. I still write down every book in there that I mark as to read on Goodreads, but a lot of the early pages well pre-exist my Goodreads. And I'm only working through page like 5 or 6 of that notebook, and it's now like 46 pages long or something like that. So I'm always aiming to just slowly chip away at it. 10 books is nothing off that list, but I do want to check off the next 10, so I'll just quickly read you through what the next 10 on that list are. They are The Small Hand by Susan Hill, The Distant Hours by Kate Morton, Shall We Dance by Maggie Alderson, As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner, Mermaids by Patty Dan, Peyton Place by Grace Metalius, The Proper Care and Maintenance of Friendship by Lisa Verge, Burkalicious, The Dubai Diaries by Becky Wicks, The Cookbook Collector by Allegra Goodman, and A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Now, most of those I know absolutely nothing about. They're books that I've written down so long ago, I have no idea where I heard about them or why I was interested in them or what they're even about. But they are, with the exception probably of A Discovery of Witches. That's pretty much the only one I really know anything about. And I kind of know that As I Lie Dying is a classic, but I don't really know too much about it except for that it's a classic. So those are 10 books that I will definitely be trying to read throughout the year. And my third reading goal is again a repeat from previous years, which is to read 10 of the first 20 books that I have marked as to read on Goodreads. This is obviously in a similar vein to the last goal. It's all just about aiming to check off books that I have, wanted to read for a really long time and finally getting around to reading them. So I'm going to tell you what the 20 books are. Like I said, I'm only aiming to read 10 of these 20. But I like to give myself a little bit of selection here, like a bit of wiggle room around things. So we have Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger. As I've mentioned, that one's been on there for a couple of years. I likely will not read that, as it is the first book in a spin-off series, and I haven't read the series that it's spun off from. Then we have My Last Kiss by Bethany Neal, Bright Before Sunrise by Tiffany Schmidt, Tease by Amanda Maciel, Point by Brandy Colbert, The Book of Ivy by Amy Engel, I've Got You Under My Skin by Mary Higgins Clark. I've Got You Under My Skin is actually not the book that I have marked as to read. I have the second book in that series, but I'm not gonna, if I read the first one, I'll consider it like a step towards completing the challenge. Every Last Promise by Kristen Halbrook. Sorry, I've got to turn my page. The Secrets of Lily Grays by Sarah Strohmeyer. The Next Time You See Me by Holly Goddard Jones. Love and Other Theories by Alexis Bass. Nightshade by Andrea Kramer. Things We Know by Heart by Jessie Kirby. Amity and Sorrow by Peggy Riley. The Ring and the Crown by Melissa Delacruz. Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. True Colors by Melissa Pearl, Uninvited by Sophie Jordan, Disarm by June Gray, and Stolen Songbird by Danielle L. Jensen. Now, I did have a look on my Goodreads shelf to get an idea of when I marked these as to read, and all 20 of these books are books that I marked as to read between November 2014 and January 2015. So these are all books that have been on my to read list on Goodreads for 5 years, minimum 5 years. So it's about time that I got to reading some of them. Once again, there are a couple of there that I know, like kind of vaguely know what they're about. There are a lot there that I have no idea where I heard about them or what they're about. Now, the interesting thing this year with both of those two challenges is that of those 30 books, I own one. In previous years, I think last year I owned 3 from each of the lists. So 6 kind of out of 20 that I needed to read, I owned. This year I own 1, which is, I should mention, is the Stolen Songbird by Danielle Jensen. I've owned that, so I will be reading that one. That means 19 others of these I need to get from the library, which is going to make this a bit more challenging than it has been in previous years. And last year was actually the first year that I completed both of the 2 sets of 10. So this could be a bit trickier this year than what it sounds. So I have those goals. My 4th reading goal, I kind of already mentioned in my last video, is that I will once again be completing the Around the Year in 52 Books reading challenge. In case you missed my last few videos, it's a Goodreads group. I'll leave it linked in the description box down below. It's a Goodreads group that just has 52 reading prompts. The idea of it is that there's a prompt for each week of the year that you try to check off throughout the year. I just take all 52 challenges and I don't try to do them in order or week by week. I just take all 52 challenges and try to take them off throughout the year. So I will be participating in that once again. I've been doing that for like 4 years now, I reckon. And I really do enjoy it. My 5th reading goal is another repeat, and that is to reread 6 books/series. That doesn't sound challenging. It really doesn't. But I read 3 of the 6, I think in December last year. Like I was scrambling to get them read to hit the 6 last year. So even though it's only one every 2 months, it's more challenging than it sounds. And I have, in order to keep myself motivated and to kind of have some more strict idea around what I'm going to be doing for that goal, I have set out the 6 books and /series that I want to reread this year. So I thought I'd let you know what they were. So the first one is I want to reread Nevernight and God's Grave by Jay Kristoff. Dark Dawn is out and I really want to read it, but I want to reread the first 2 so I can go into that. I remember quite a lot about them, but I love that series, so I really want to go into it as fresh as possible. The second set is I want to reread The Casket Girls, which you can actually see right here. The Casket Girls and the Romeo Catchers by Elise Arden. That is the first 2 books, again, in a trilogy. It's been a while since I've read those 2. So I really want to refresh myself before I read The Cities of Dead, which I bought and hauled in my Christmas book haul. The next is to reread To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. So again, I would like to reread that with the view to then reading Go Set a Watchman, which I'm really nervous about reading because I've obviously heard very terrible reviews of it, but I do want to read it and give it a go. My 4th one that I want to reread is The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. This one I read, I think pre-BookTube, or maybe in my first year of BookTube. No, I think it would have been pre-BookTube. And I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. And yet, since I've become on BookTube, it's kind of a book that you hear people talk about like every now and again. Everyone who reads it loves it. And I feel like I must have missed something. It's one of those books. I remember the kind of twist to the story. I remember. But I don't really remember what I didn't like about it. Like, I can't even remember if it was that twist that I didn't like or what. I don't know. So I want to reread it and see whether I was in a weird mood when I read it and completely missed out on something and it is an amazing book, or if I really do just have an unpopular opinion. So I want to reread that one this year. I then also want to reread, and this is one where it gets a little bit more challenging, is I want to reread the Tomorrow When the War Began series by John Marsden. That is actually this set of books right here. So it's a bit more challenging because the original series has 7 books. There is also a spin-off series which has another 3 books. I don't necessarily have to read the spin-off series. I probably will end up, because once I finish that series, I'll just want to naturally reread the spin-off series, even though the spin-off series is nowhere near as good and really isn't required to be read. They are YA, so they're not, like, you can see them here. I'll pull off the first one. Like, they're not big, like, or anything. They're around, like, how long is this? They're, like, under 300 pages. They are, for those of you who don't know, this is a Australian YA series. It is about a group of teenagers who go camping in, like, they're from a small rural town, and they go camping, like, out bush one weekend, a group of them. And while they're out there, they see these planes flying overhead, and there seems to be a lot of activity going on. And when they come back, they go back by, like, one of their farms, and it seems abandoned, and they don't know where everyone is. Basically, they discover that Australia has been invaded by a unknown country. And Australia's basically at war. And, I mean, it sounds kind of stupid, but the group of teens become, like, kind of guerrilla fighters in a way, because they were out bush. They haven't been captured like the rest of their town has, and it all kind of goes from there. I read this series, I think I've definitely read it twice, at least twice, maybe 3 times. I first read it when I was in high school, and I loved this series when I was in high school. I've always loved it. It's a series that has stayed with me for a really, really long time, so I really, really want to reread it now, like, as an adult. So that was a really long-winded explanation, but that's the 5th reread. And then the 6th one I've just kind of picked randomly off my shelves, which is Me vs. Me by Sarah Milnowski. Now, this is one that I picked to reread because I want to make an aim to pick all of the books to eventually reread off my shelves, all of the random kind of standalone books that I have from pre-BookTube that I don't remember anything about. I don't even remember what this one. In my head, I vaguely feel like this is like a sliding doors style premise where it's about a character's life that splits off down 2 different paths. I think that could be wrong. I'm not sure where it splits or why it splits or what the 2 storylines are, but I obviously liked it enough at the time to keep the book. Like, I put the book on my bookshelf, but I don't remember anything about it. So I figured I may as well make that one a goal to reread that, and then I could decide whether it still needs to hold a place on my shelves or whether I should unhaul it. So I added that one. So those are the 6. I just thought I would mention kind of as a little bonus that I am planning to reread Harry Potter this year. I'm planning to listen to the audiobooks. I've read Harry Potter like 7 or 8 times now, but I've never listened to the audiobooks, and I really, really want to because they get such huge praise. I'm planning to listen to the Stephen Fry versions. My library has all of the audiobooks, so I'm just going to get them from there. And finally listen to the audiobooks, which I've wanted to do for ages. So I am going to be listening to that as well, but I didn't want to set that as a goal because it just seemed too easy. And then my final reading goal, this is the big one that's actually really like a challenge for me this year. Well, all of them are a little bit challenging, but this is like the big one. And that is to reduce my physical TBR to below 400 books. So let's chat about this. I have set my goal in previous years. I've always had a goal kind of around my physical TBR, but it's always just been with an idea to read a certain amount of books off my TBR. I think the first year was like 50. The last 2 years it was 70, and I didn't even hit it. Like, last year I did, but the year before I didn't even hit 70. And that's all well and good. But just having that goal to read 50 isn't in any way reducing my TBR because it's not controlling how many books I'm bringing in throughout the year. And I 100%, so I'm just going to move my legs because my legs are falling asleep. I 100% for like the last 3 or 4 years at least have increased the number of books on my TBR. I haven't closely monitored it until like the last few years. So, well, the last 2 years basically. So at the start of 2019, my TBR was at 408. And at the start of 2020, so what my TBR is right now, well, not right now, but as of 1 January, was 439 books. So just last year, I increased it by more than 30. And I read more than 70 books off my physical TBR, which means I brought in more than 100 books. So my numbers are just going up, even though I am making an effort to read those books. So, like I said, my goal is to get it below 400. And like I said, it's at 439. So I need to reduce my TBR by 40 books this year to get it below 400. Now, I really want to do this. And so I've got a couple of things in mind to try help me achieve this. So you would know if you've been watching my channel or seen any of my book hauls that generally I place a monthly book depository order. I call it monthly, but what it is every second pay. I get paid on a fortnightly basis, and every second pay period I generally place an order. So one of the things that I'm going to do is to scale that out to every third pay. Because generally I only bring in 2 new books to my TBR in those orders. I generally order 3, but one of them is usually a book that I've already read that I just want to have a physical copy of, so it isn't increasing my TBR. But generally there's 2 books in that order that are upping my numbers. But I figured if I draw that out to every 3, and so every 6 weeks I'm bringing in 2 books, I should be reading well more than 2 books within that 6-week period to help reduce my numbers. And I'm just going to also try to be strict on the secondhand book buying, because that's where, and I don't do it all the time, but when I do it, I go big and I'll get 30 plus books in a go. And if you even just do that 2 or 3 times throughout the year, you're looking at 60 or 90 books right there before you even purchase any brand new books. So that's where a big part of my problem is. So I don't want to restrict myself entirely. So I'm going to monitor my numbers really closely throughout the year, which is something I've never done before. I keep track of what I purchase and I keep track of my TBR, but I don't look at the number. I have always just been kind of this ignorance is bliss style kind of mindset towards it. And I think being really aware of the number and monitoring it throughout the year is going to help me not go crazy. So wish me luck. So those are the 6 reading goals. I do have 2 channel goals, I guess you would call them. The first one is kind of directly related to that last reading goal, and that is I want to change up how I'm doing my wrap-ups. So now, since I've been doing my recent reads video, which I do every week, I haven't been doing an in-depth review of all of the books that I've read at the end of the month because it seems entirely pointless, and I'm going to continue to not do that. But rather than just do what I've been doing where I just list off all of the books that I've been reading, I'm going to give my stats as usual, but I want to also instead of listing off all the books, I'm going to give you my stats and I'm going to give you just my best and worst of the month. And then I want to also check in on that TBR goal every month in my wrap up. Just give the numbers of this is how many off my shelves I read this month. This is how many I brought in. So this is where we're at with my total. Because I think that's the only way I'm going to be able to stick to this goal, is to really, like I said, monitor it closely, tell you guys where I'm at to kind of hold myself accountable. So that's what I'm planning to do. If you guys are interested in, if there's any of these other goals, like my Around the Year in 52 Books challenge, for example, that you're interested in me maybe every month saying this is how many challenges I checked off this month and what the challenges are each month, or if you prefer to just hear about it in the wrap up of either the challenge or just hear about it in my goal review at the end of the year, whether I've managed to do it or not, let me know down below if you would like to hear about it on an ongoing monthly basis, or whether you just don't care about that. But at the very least, like I said, I'm going to be including my TBR kind of check-in in my wrap-ups because I think it's the only way to hold myself accountable. So that is kind of one goal. Like I said, that's not a hard, it's not even really a goal. It's more like an intention. I'm telling you what I'm going to do because it's not something that's going to be difficult for me to achieve or anything. And then the second one isn't really, I guess, a channel goal because it's not on YouTube. It's more, I guess, a creator goal. I don't know what you would call it. And that is, I want to be more present on Instagram, or Bookstagram, as you were. I have a Bookstagram account. I post very rarely. I post photos very rarely. I think I posted 7 pictures the entirety of 2019, which is very low, obviously. So I want to be more present in that part. I mean, I check my Bookstagram almost every day. I check my feed of looking at other people's posts, and, liking their pictures and things. I do that, but I don't, and I watch other people's stories. I've never posted an Instagram story. So I want to be more present in that way. I want to be, and it's hard. I think I'm really like not motivated to post pictures on Instagram because people's Bookstagram pictures are just such high quality and mine are such low quality that it just feels sometimes like, what's the point? Because my pictures are never going to look as good as other people's pictures. But obviously, even though mine are never going to look as good as like a lot of other people's, my pictures will get better with like me like more consistently doing it. I'll find like what works for me and how to like take better pictures. But even if it's not just taking like set photographs, if it's even just being more present on Instagram, like on Instagram stories, like giving you guys more regular, like if that's something you're interested in, like maybe people don't care, let me know. Whether you, if you don't already follow me on Instagram, there's always it's always listed down below. It's just at Rather Be Reading, no G. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, if you would like me to like, if you would watch my stories if I just posted regularly, just like fun little, hey guys, this is what I'm reading, I'm having a big reading weekend, I'm reading this, whatever. Or if you just don't really watch that because you prefer to just find out everything on BookTube, I don't know, I guess let me know down below what you guys would be interested in if you follow me on Instagram or whatever. Because it's just something, like I said, I want to be better about, but I don't know, maybe it's, I'm already talking myself out of it, but it is something I would like to be better at, so I have set it as kind of a goal. So that's it. Those are kind of two, I guess, creator goals and all of my like kind of reading goals. Like I said, there's nothing overly new here. It's all stuff that I've kind of, it's all kind of in the theme and like the idea and vein of what I'm always trying to do each year, but that's what works for me and it's what I enjoy doing. So I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below what you think of all of my goals, but you think I'll be able to achieve them? Do you think I can get my TBR below 400 in 2020? I feel like I should almost come up with some kind of punishment for myself if I don't do it, but I like have no idea what that would be. So you can say, oh, then you have to go on a complete book buying ban, but like I just would break it. Like obviously I don't have self-control. So I don't know. Let me know if you can think of anything down below. I would love to know if you guys have set any reading goals for 2020. Let me know down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. That is all I have for this video today. Bye guys.